Thanks so much, Ryan. Coming up at 6 o'clock, San Mateo Sheriff Christina Corpus taking the stand, fighting for her job. We're going to break down the emotional final testimony from the sheriff and when we can expect a resolution.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
And good evening. San Mateo County Sheriff got one final chance to defend herself in the unprecedented hearing to remove her from office. Sheriff Christina Corpus took the stand for the second time, making an emotional plea to keep her job. She's been accused of abusing her power, but she argues county leaders and members of her own department have been out to get her since she took over. Our Lauren Toms was there for the final day of proceedings.
After 2 weeks of testimony, San Mateo County Sheriff Christina Corpus took the stand one last time Friday, fighting to keep her job, with emotional testimony insisting that she's been the target of a political takedown, not a corrupt sheriff.
I've been a public servant to San Mateo County for the last 30 years with an unblemished career. I lose my job. I won't be able to support my children. I won't be able to provide services to my son who has special needs. All based on people that don't want me in office, all based on their lies.
On the stand, Corpus pushed back on witness testimony, calling several people who testified against her liars.
The false testimony that some of these, unfortunately, law enforcement officers gave. And if they're lying here, what are they doing in our communities? It brings me a lot of concern.
But in their closing arguments, the county laid out 3 grounds for removal: retaliation against staff, misconduct in the controversial arrest of Deputy Union President Carlos Tapia, and a conflict of interest involving Corpus's close relationship with longtime confidant Victor INJ.
They stated that the sheriff took no responsibility nor accountability for any of the numerous examples that were shown, and stated that it is clear that she is unfit for the office and must be removed.
The county argued that even if the sheriff's relationship with her top aide wasn't romantic, it still crossed professional lines, pointing to pay raises, aggressive behavior, and special treatment. Corpus's team fired back, insisting that everything she did was within her legal authority as sheriff. The treatment, they say, is in response to her attempts to reform the sheriff's office.
The county did not prove that I did anything wrong, because as the sheriff, I can transfer people for the needs of the organization. I can make promotions, I can hire and I can fire people, yet I have everyone saying that I'm retaliating because I am doing my job that the voters of San Mateo County voted me to do.
County spokesperson Effie Miliones Verducci says that their attorneys argued Corpus has lost her way, saying she failed to take responsibility and is unfit for office.
The sheriff was elected on a platform of change that inspired the voters of this county. Nonetheless, what they said is that the evidence shows that since then the sheriff has lost her way, and that whatever vision, promise, and hope that she might have represented is gone.
Corpus calls the proceedings undemocratic and a witch hunt, but I asked her how she could rebound if the Board of Supervisors does vote to keep her in office.
By continuing to serve, protect, I will continue to come to work every day, I will continue to serve, and I will continue to hear the community members.
Retired Santa Clara County Judge James Emerson, who's presided over these proceedings, now has 45 days to make his recommendations to the Board of Supervisors, who will then have 30 days to take up a vote on the sheriff's fate. Her removal requires an overwhelming majority of at least 4 out of the 5 supervisors voting for her removal in order to strip her from her elected position.
Who's paying for all of this? Well, the county is covering the cost of their attorneys and Corpus's private legal team. So that was all stipulated by Measure A. But Corpus is on the hook for any other legal expenses, including for the pending civil grand jury trial. All right, let's turn to the South Bay now. Flames destroy a building once home to a beloved youth center. And now neighbors are mourning what was and what might have been. So we'll show you a live look from San Jose at what remains of the Mexican American Community Services Agency Youth Center, or MACSA. Community members are gathering for a vigil after a fire ripped through the building early this morning. It's located on Sinclair Drive in East San Jose. It's right next to the Alum Rock Renaissance Academy. It's in the Mayfair neighborhood. Ann Makovic has more on the city councilman who said this center helped turn his life around, and he's not giving up on its promise for the future.
This is what the fire looked like shortly after it broke out at around 1 a.m. Flames and smoke pouring out of the abandoned building that used to house the Moxa Youth Center.
As this building goes up in flames, you know, our youth's dreams do not.
San Jose City Council member Peter Ortiz was raised in this neighborhood and fell into a familiar trap.
When I was growing up here on the east side, I was gang impacted. I joined a gang at the age of 12, and from 12 to about 24, I was in a gang.
He says the people and programs that once operated out of this building turned his life around with specialized intervention based on culture and history.
About, you know, who Cesar Chavez was, Dolores Huerta, things to be proud about, right? And then to identify with their history, not with, you know, the gang ideology.
Sadly, Moxa fell into disrepair and closed in 2015. It was owned by the Alum Rock Union School District, which didn't have the funds to keep it going. In June, the district extended a deadline for deciding the center's fate. The plan was to forge a partnership to help manage it. Victor Vasquez of Somos Mayfair was part of that plan. He says its cultural significance cannot be replaced.
The architecture as well, it looks like a pyramid. It represents the indigenous culture of our community. You're not going to see a building like this anywhere in the Bay Area in the middle of a neighborhood.
He wants to rebuild and eventually have space for a gym, cultural programs, and food distribution, all with the help of local, state, and private funds. Councilmember Ortiz says he'll do his part to see it through.
And that's what this building means to me. It means a second chance, and it means a promise to our East Side youth that there will be better days. And that is not going up in flames, regardless of what happens to the building.
The cause of the fire is still under investigation. All right, now to Concord, where there's a new challenge for high school football players at Mount Diablo. Right now, the JV squad is facing off against Terra Linda in their season opener. But in a twist, the teams are playing this game at Concord High School, and that's because Mount Diablo's brand new turf field was lit on fire over the weekend. The school had just spent millions of dollars to install the new turf. You can see the burn mark right on the 50-yard line at Mount Diablo High. Fans say it'll be tough for the team playing all their games away from home, but coaches say it's just another challenge his players are ready to overcome.
This is life in general, right? It's a microcosm of what could happen in life. Now, you could do it and suffer and blame everyone, point fingers, or you can overcome. That's part of being a man or a great human being, is that you're going to see struggles that are supposed to hinder you, but you overcome them.
That's a good coach there. Investigators believe the fire may have started when some kids were shooting off fireworks last weekend. All right, let's go back out live. Concord High School. There you go. There's no word yet when Mount Diablo High can get its field back open. We're following the story. We'll have more on the game later tonight. Go team. All right, CAL FIRE says they're making good progress on a new wildfire in Lake County. Firefighters are battling the flames from the air and the ground, but high winds, hot temps, and the rugged terrain have made the firefight more difficult. They're calling this the Peter Fire. Right now, it is about 20% contained. So the fire has burned nearly 50 acres so far. Evacuations have been ordered in the nearby town of Kelseyville. So the red areas that you see right here, they indicate where evacuations are mandatory, while the orange areas are only at the level of evacuation warnings. All right, let's switch now to the Pickett Fire in Napa County, where more evacuation orders have been downgraded to warnings. CAL FIRE now says 5 structures have been destroyed since the flames first erupted last week. The good news here, fire crews do not expect the flames to burn outside containment lines moving forward. And so far, the fire has burned more than 6,800 acres near Calistoga, making it the biggest wildfire in the Bay Area so far this season. CAL FIRE says it is now 41% contained. Meantime, a fairly small fire caused some huge problems for drivers heading out for Labor Day weekend. This happened this afternoon on 580 at the Altamont Pass. A car fire. It spread to some grass and then completely shut down eastbound lanes. The middle 2 lanes reopened just after 4 p.m., but the far right and left lanes remain closed. All right, well, even without fires, the roads are packed with travelers. You can see just how crowded it is already this afternoon on I-80. You can see kind of through Emeryville Actually, I'm looking at that video. It's not that bad right there. And for those of us, sticking around for the holiday, Paul and I, we're in a slight warm-up. So good time to bring in meteorologist Paul Hagen. Doesn't mean we're hanging out together, just that we're,
Well, not now.
Not now.
Jeez, just find out you're not invited right on the air.
My barbecue, sorry, you're not invited.
Let's take a look at what we are in for. It's nice out there this evening. Temperatures are running pretty close to what's typical for late August, so a lot of 70s around the Bay and 70s in the Santa Clara Valley for the most part as well. 80s east of the Oakland Hills, but even the hot spots around Antioch and Brentwood are just short of 90 degrees, although you did make it up into the 90s earlier today. And mostly 70s for the North Bay, 60s at the coast. Again, all typical for this time of year. However, as we do head into Labor Day weekend, we're in for that warm-up. High temperatures tomorrow are going to be running about 6 to 12 degrees above average. That means 70s in the city, mostly 80s around the Bay with a few upper 70s sprinkled in, and then upper 80s and 90s inland. Some of the hottest spots far inland, whether it's in the North Bay or in the East Bay, are going to reach up to triple-digit territory. But even then, 99 degrees in Concord is short of a record, and record highs are going to be out of reach, mostly 10-plus degrees out of reach. The exception to that is going to be Livermore, where you'll be about a half dozen degrees short of tomorrow's record, mercifully, because the record is 105 degrees. We don't have that kind of heat in store, but it does look like the warm temperatures and heat inland going to be sticking around as we head into early September. Details coming up in the full forecast in just a few minutes.
Ooh, Paul, thank you. All right, the Labor Day weekend certainly marks the unofficial end of summer, so prepare for some long lines at the airports this holiday weekend. The TSA expects nearly 17.5 million people at its checkpoints through Wednesday. We did speak with some travelers in Oakland who tried their best to get ahead of it. Looks empty there.
Yeah, definitely nervous. We didn't know what to expect with the holiday. We thought it might be really busy, so we got here a little bit early.
I wonder where they're headed. I always wonder when we see those interviews. All right, there, it's packed there. American and United Airlines expect to fly about 7 million passengers this weekend. The FAA is watching for potential delays in places like Boston, across Texas, Florida, Denver, and also right here in the Bay Area, San Francisco. All right, still ahead here at 6, a San Francisco AI company branching out with some four-legged hardware. We're going to introduce you to the founder who says you could have one of them in your home, if you want, in the near future. And rideshare drivers finally received the right to unionize. The surprising deal reached and why the rideshare companies are not fighting it. Former San Jose City Councilman Omar Torres has just been sentenced to 18 years in state prison for sexually assaulting a teen boy in 1999. Torres resigned from his post in November. In April, he pled no contest to the charges. He will now have to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. Santa Clara County DA Jeff Rosen said this sentence sends a strong message that no one is above the law. Artificial intelligence is starting to drive a different sort of real estate boom in San Francisco. Rents have risen and plenty of office space still lies vacant. But now AI companies are clamoring for manufacturing spots and space for robotics. One AI company that started in the Silicon Valley garage is growing its footprint in the city. And its founder gave our Kenny Choi an inside look at what they're working on.
When Jan Lippert takes his dog for a walk, it quickly garners attention. He hasn't named his robotic quadruped yet.
It is a little bit scary looking.
Inside Open Mind, an AI robotics startup, a team of researchers and the Stanford engineering professor are locked in to make next-gen bots more capable, adaptable, and collaborative in real-world environments, including inside your home.
If the quadruped dog does not see its owner for 10 or plus minutes, it will explore the house, go find its owner, and make sure the owner is okay.
At a nearby park in Soma, curious onlookers are impressed.
I've seen robots before, but bigger ones trying to be industrial and stuff, and I've not seen ones as approachable and as engaging as these guys, so very cool.
Open Mind will soon deploy its quadrupeds for testing. Math lessons for kids, home security, and caregiving checks for seniors are on the list.
We see the software and technology and the hardware to be essentially ready to go now.
As AI startups in San Francisco continue to expand, real estate companies are seeing an uptick in demand for manufacturing space in the city, from Soma to the 3rd Street corridor. Robert Sammons is Senior Director of Research at Cushman & Wakefield.
It's definitely a change for San Francisco. San Francisco historically has been a software market.
By comparison, Silicon Valley has more than 160 million square feet of R&D space. San Francisco has just 8 million zoned for manufacturing. Salmon says last year, only one tenant was looking for that kind of real estate, about 3,000 square feet. This year, it's a different story. 10 tenants are in the market, asking for more than 650,000 square feet of what's called PDR space, production, distribution, and repair.
Everything from automotive to robotics to some of the chip makers, they're all kind of looking at space in San Francisco, really to be close right now to the AI tenants that are here.
Jan and his crew are several steps closer to what they envision in the near future.
Our main priority is to prove that the notion of thinking machines broadly deployed into homes, hospitals, and schools is no longer science fiction.
Just a year ago, OpenMind was in its infancy, being developed in his Palo Alto garage.
Your workspace is really lively and inspiring.
Now it's commanding others and taking center stage in San Francisco.
OpenMind is also now looking for a larger space after its latest round of funding, raising $20 million. The company recently announced it will start rolling out 10 thinking dogs to homes next month to collect data and improve its technology. All right, coming up, it should be a good weekend for some outdoor Labor Day plans. We're going to look at the full forecast through the holiday weekend and beyond. Look at that little guy. Oh, 2. A years-long battle between rideshare drivers and their employers was resolved today in Sacramento. Governor Newsom and lawmakers have reached an agreement creating a path towards unionization. So under the agreement, Uber and Lyft drivers will have the opportunity to fight for increased pay and additional benefits. Drivers are classified as independent contractors in California, which prevents them from pursuing traditional pathways to unionization. Now, bills AB 1340 and SB 371 could give them the right to unionize and relief from rising insurance costs. Drivers say the bills can make a real difference after seeing major decreases in pay over the years.
Back then, working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, I could earn about $700 a week. Today, doing the exact same work, I earn about $500. And that's before expenses like gas, maintenance, and insurance would cost me over $200 a month.
The two major proposals could mark the largest expansion of collective bargaining in the private sector in California's history. Uber and Lyft are backing the bills. A statement from Lyft says, quote, by bringing runway insurance costs under control, we can help maintain the affordability of rideshare without sacrificing proper protections. All right, forget rideshare apps for a second. Would you hop in a flying car to beat Bay Area traffic? I don't know. San Mateo County Company just got the green light to start testing at airports in Half Moon Bay and Hollister. So take a look at this. This is video from the Aleph Aeronautics. The company says the fully electric Model 0 is designed to climb as high as 2,000 feet, has a flight range of up to 110 miles, has a driving range of 200 miles. The startup says the first models will be around $300,000, but aims to bring the cost down over time. I wonder how much they aim to bring down. Oh, let's watch. This is fascinating, Paul, and I know you have thoughts on this.
The wheels don't look real sturdy.
Okay. I think this is just kind of a simulated model.
I mean, I'm sure they have to lighten the wheels to make it more easily airborne, but those look like the wheels from a Model T.
Yeah, I'd want mine to be colorful. I'm sure that's
what you're focused on.
I'm sure that's not even
not the air or roadworthiness of it. How does it look?
Yeah, right.
Will that look good as I,
Can I text and fly at the same time?
That thing? Yeah.
Do you think you can text and fly at the same time?
If you're at the wheel, probably not.
Okay.
Probably discouraged. Let's take a look at what's happening weather-wise as we head into Labor Day weekend. The satellite replay over the past 6 hours. Well, the marine layer cloud cover is still hanging out offshore, but it did once again pull away from the coast this afternoon. So nice amount of sunshine along the coast. Didn't really help your temperatures out. You stayed in the 60s, but hey, the sunshine makes it feel warmer, and it's going to be a similar pattern as we head through Labor Day weekend with the afternoon clearing, and then that fog and low cloud cover is going to return and push across the Bay Area. But it's taking a break for right now. Let's take a look outside from the Mark Hopkins Hotel, looking to the west towards Sutro Tower. Not even a hint of fog on the horizon. It's over the horizon out over the Pacific. Temperatures a mix of 60s, 70s, and 80s. 65 in the city, just below 70 across the bay, with 70s in San Jose and Santa Rosa. Still holding on to the 80s in Livermore and Concord, but that's not that hot for late August. But temperatures are going to climb as we head into the weekend. If you're heading out to the Giants game this evening, temperatures are going to stay in the mid-60s. First pitch is at 7:15, just under an hour from now, as they take on the Baltimore Orioles in a start of a 3-game series, staying in the 60s throughout the evening. So we've reached that point in the season where it's not overly chilly for a nighttime game at Oracle Park, with about a month or so to go in the season. Let's take a look at the fog as we head through the rest of tonight. We'll go from 9 o'clock this evening through 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, and you can see the fog reforming, spreading into the inland valleys. Not too much of a push into the interior valleys of the East Bay, but what fog there is that makes its way into the Santa Clara Valley and the North Bay won't take long to back up, retreating to around the bay by mid-morning and pulling off the coast by midday. Temperatures are going to be hotter. The inland heat is going to be back. You can see the real widespread heat is off to our east through the Central Valley, but enough of that pushing into interior portions of the East Bay that I think we are going to see a few of the hottest spots reaching up to triple-digit territory. Let's take a look at the numbers. San Jose up into the upper 80s, half dozen degrees above normal, but low to mid-90s for Los Gatos and Morgan Hill. A mix of upper 90s and low 100s east of the Oakland Hills, Fairfield, Antioch, and Brentwood around 101 tomorrow afternoon. Mid-80s for Fremont and Redwood City. Near 80 degrees in Oakland, mid-70s in San Francisco, also about a half dozen degrees above normal, with temperatures in the North Bay mostly in the low 90s, but some mid to upper 90s the farther inland you go. The usual trend that we do expect whenever the temperatures warm up. The farther away from the bay you go, the hotter it gets. But the heat risk, which is the threat of overexertion, only climbs to the moderate category tomorrow, and that's likely where it's going to stay Sunday and for Labor Day on Monday. So it's going to be hot, but it's not likely to become dangerously hot as long as you just exercise common sense, stay hydrated, and find some shade or some air conditioning whenever you can. Let's take a look at the 7-day forecast, and it's a slow return to near normal temperatures, but it takes the full duration of the 7-day forecast. We go from temperatures running 5 to 10 degrees above normal this weekend, back to near normal temperatures by Thursday and Friday of next week. Temperatures around the bay, again, upper 70s and low to mid 80s over the weekend, and then back down to the lower half of the 70s, which is where we're supposed to be by Thursday and Friday. And even at the coast, you're going to get up to around 70 degrees tomorrow. Temperatures back down slightly as we go through the rest of the holiday weekend, but the fog doesn't really return until we head into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. More cloud cover, at least at that point, knocking temperatures back to the mid-60s. Jules?
Great. When we come back, we're going to tell you where you can find this appealing new art installation in San Francisco. Do you get it, Paul? I'll explain it later if you don't. Appealing. It looks like a banana.
I look forward to that.
Okay. The Valkyries continue their playoff push this weekend with back-to-back games at Chase Center. We're bringing you both games live. Of course we are. Tomorrow, they'll host the Washington Mystics. Coverage starts at 5 p.m. on our sister station, PIX Plus. Then on Sunday, it's the Indiana Fever. That one is right here on KPIX, and coverage starts at 5 o'clock. As Bay Area residents split out of town, get it, ahead of the Labor Day weekend, the city of San Francisco is hoping their newest piece of art is appealing enough to bring folks in. Okay, we get it. This is at the cable car intersection on Powell and Market Streets downtown. This is where the city installed a giant banana-shaped bench, part of a series of an interactive art exhibit happening in San Francisco. We spoke to tourists about it. They like it.
Very appealing. It is very comfortable, and it's very nice. We noticed it right away.
I enjoy a good banana.
Okay, to celebrate the newest piece of art, the city will hold a number of events this weekend that include live music and a balloon animal station. All right. CBS Evening News is next. Local news on our streaming service, CBS News Bay Area. We're back here in 30 minutes at 7. See you then. I got a split. See ya.